series entitled Better. And again, we're looking at different passages from the Bible with the word better in them. And if you've missed any of the weeks during this series, let me catch you up a little bit. Where the overarching theme throughout this series has been, there is no reason to settle for the good life. There's no reason to settle for the good life. Now, the good life is like the American dream. We've got to have a house with a white picket fence, 2.3 kids. We've got to have a really nice car to drive. We pursue all these things, and like we talked about a few weeks ago, Solomon said, a lot of times that's like chasing after the wind. There's something better. So there's no reason to settle for the good life when God has something indescribably better in store for us. So we need to let go of the good to grab hold on to something better. Now, along the way, we learned, our first week, we learned that one day with God is better than 1,000 anywhere else. And we talked about how to have constant communication with God, how to develop the habit of instant obedience and things like that. I hope you're well on your way in doing those things. The next week, we learned that one handful with peace is better than to have both hands full and hard at work and chasing after the wind. So one handful is better than to have both hands full and chasing after the wind. In weeks 3 and 4, we learned that wisdom is better than gold, and so is a good name. Having a good reputation is better than gold, better than silver. Now, as we jump in today, I want to ask you a question. All right, here we go. Here's the question. How many of you find yourselves occasionally impatient? How many of you have ever lost your patience? Now, some of you couldn't even wait to raise your hand. You're that impatient, all right? I've been there. I know what it's like. And unfortunately, a lot of the time, many of us become most impatient with the people that we love. And I don't know why that is, but husbands get impatient with their wives, and wives get impatient with their husbands. Again, no elbows out there. We know who you are. Kids get impatient with their parents, right? Parents get impatient with their kids. And older siblings get impatient with younger siblings, and on it goes. And we get impatient with the ones that we love. Let me tell you a story. My mom might kill me if she knew I was telling this story. I don't know. But my mom decided to take us 3 boys. I'm the oldest of 4 boys now, but at that time there were only 3 of us. So I'm the oldest of 3 boys at this time. She took us on vacation to Tennessee, and she took along a friend with her named Nancy. So that she could keep her awake and, kind of keep us company and that kind of thing. And they could switch back and forth driving. And, like a 10-hour trip to Tennessee. We were going to Tennessee to visit some relatives and the sightseeing, go to the Smoky Mountains and that kind of thing. So we spent a week in Tennessee. And you could imagine 3 boys, how much trouble we could get into and how much we could try our mom's patience. And so we were on our way home from Tennessee, and here we were, in the back seat of the car. We must have stopped. How many of you remember Spitballs? You know where this is going. I love it. It's great. Well, we must have stopped somewhere along the way to pick up lunch or something, because all 3 of us had straws, and we had plenty of paper to make Spitballs. Now, Nancy, my mom's friend, had really big hair. It was the 80s, people. It was the 80s. Big hair was in style. I mean, it was poofy and everything. She had really big hair. So that might as well have been, for 3 boys sitting in the backseat of the car, that might as well have been a target painted with circles and a bullseye, of course. So we made a game out of it, and 3 boys sitting in the backseat of the car getting a lot of trouble. And so we made a game out of this, and of course, there has to be a points system, because among 3 boys there has to be a winner and there has to be a loser. So I'm sure we developed some kind of point system like, hey, 3 points if you get the spitball stuck in her hair, and 3 points if she kind of feels something and scratches, like, what the heck was that, And maybe a 4-point deduction if it falls out. So, we came up with some kind of point system, and of course we did scores. So, on and on we traveled, and on, 3 boys in the back seat laughing, carrying on, you can imagine how fun that was. Well, it came time for a stop, a rest stop, a gas refueling stop. We stopped at this gas station along Interstate 77, somewhere in Virginia, I think it was. And there we are. Imagine this, a full gas station. Everybody's stopping and getting gas, very busy. There's people all around. And you can imagine in somebody's dark hair, spitballs show up really well. Well, Mom found out that we were spitting spitballs into Nancy's hair. And again, middle of the gas station, Mom loses her patience. She's done. I mean, all week long, we try my mom's patience. Her patience is worn thin. What does she do? Boys, get out of the car. Oh boy. We get out of the car. Mom's refueling the car. And she says, I want you to line up along the back of the trunk and put your hands on the trunk. There we are in the middle of this gas station with our hands on the trunk. We're thinking, Mom's going to read us our Miranda rights. You know, she's going to have to give us a real talking to. Oh no, it gets better. She says, get your hands on the trunk. And there we are, lined up along the trunk, all three of us boys. And she proceeds to spank us in front of everybody. Great trip, lost her patience. She was done with us. How many of you have been there? Lost your patience. Maybe it's not to that extent, but you've lost your patience. You can imagine. Then sometimes how it is to lose our patience. Sometimes when we lose our patience, losing our patience leads to anger. Losing our patience leads to revenge. But I want to give you something better today. Something better than impatience. Something better than impatience. And so I want to look at our key verse from Proverbs chapter 16 and verse 32. Now, if you don't have a Bible with you, grab one from the back of the pew there. You can turn to page 484, and that'll help you out, kind of get you there real quickly. So, Proverbs 16:32. And again, we look to one of the wisest men to ever live on the earth, King Solomon. King Solomon. Now, he writes in Proverbs 16:32, better a patient man than a warrior, a man who controls his temper, than one who takes a city. Now, get this image in your mind. Solomon says that it's better to be patient than to be angry. It's better to be patient than to be argumentative. It's better to be patient than to be controlling. It's better to be patient than to fight. It's better to be patient than to lose your temper. And he gives this image of a warrior bent out on destruction. He's had enough. He's going to go down to this city and he's going to conquer it because he's just had enough. And so that's the image we get. Now, easier said than done, right? Easier said than done. How many of you have had your patience tested in the last month? Let me see your hands. All right. How many of you have had your patience tested just in the last week? Maybe even today. Anybody today? Yeah, okay. Now, I want to let you in on a little bit. I'm going to let you in a little bit of Jeremy Klein. Okay, here's Jeremy Klein. Anytime I get behind the wheel of a car, it's over for me. My wife is sitting there going, oh boy, what's he going to say? She knows. Anytime I get behind the wheel of a car, my patience is tested. And I don't know why that is. But when I get in the car and I start driving down the road, I just want to get from point A to point B as most efficiently as I can. All right? I don't break the law or anything like that, but I like to go the speed limit. I stay within about 5 over the speed limit. But anyway, last week I'm driving down the road. I don't know why God does this to me. I'm driving down the road. I look down the road. I don't know, the speed limit is like 45 miles an hour. I look down the road. There's a truck sitting off to my left, ready to come out onto this road I'm driving down. And I'm thinking, well, he doesn't have time to pull out in front of me and get up to speed and all that kind of thing. So I'm thinking he's not going to pull out. Well, he decided otherwise. So this guy pulls out in front of me, and I got to slam on my brakes. And now I'm angry because I'm following this guy who's driving really slow. I'm never going to get to where I want to get efficiently enough. So I'm losing my patience. All right, my blood is boiling, and I'm just praying, God, help me control my anger. Because I want to beat this guy. So, the next thing I know, I'm following this guy down the road, and he doesn't even get up to the speed limit. Now I'm really furious, okay? And not only is he not meeting the speed limit, he's driving like 15 miles an hour below the speed limit. I am fuming. My blood is boiling. I'm irate. I want to get to where I want to get to go, and this guy is just in my way. To make things worse or better, however you want to put it, he decides he's going to turn left. He's pulled out in front of me. We've gone not even a mile down the road, not even getting up to speed limit. Now he's going to turn left. And by the way, there's nobody behind me. He could have waited for me to go by, but no, he pulls out in front of me. My patience had worn thin. So he turns left. Now I got to stop, wait for him to turn left, wait for oncoming traffic. He turns left. I had enough. I was through. So must have known I was angry. He must have heard the horn, because then he gave me that one finger wave that we're all familiar with. You know what I'm talking about. I lost my patience. I was through. I was done. And I don't know why. Like I said, my patience gets tested anytime I get behind the wheel of a car. But Solomon said that patience is better than being a warrior than losing your temper. And I get that, because it's no fun to lose your patience. You know, that day I felt like being a warrior for Jeremy Klein. I'm going to go out and just conquer this guy, because it's all about me, right? And so people in our lives try our patience. Maybe there's someone in your life testing your patience, and you've had enough. Your blood boils every time these people come around, and you've had enough. And you're about ready to lose your temper and become a warrior for yourself. And not only are you going to be a warrior, but you might get some other people around you to go and conquer these people that try your patience. Like what Paul says in 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verses 13 through 15. Paul says, like I said, I like what he says. Easier said than done. Live in peace with each other. Live in peace with each other. We could just stop there as a church. If we could just live in peace with each other, how much better life would be. But he goes on, and we urge you, brothers, warn those who are idle, encourage the timid, help the weak, be patient with who? What? Even that guy driving the truck that pulled out from you? Yeah, be patient with everyone, Paul says. And he goes on, make sure that nobody pays back wrong for wrong, but always try to be kind to each other and to everyone else. Now remember, Paul's talking to the church here, so be kind to each other. You're in the church. Oh yeah, by the way, don't forget the people that are in the world too. We need to be kind to them as well. So it's easy to say these words, and it's easy to read these words from 1 Thessalonians, and it's easy to hear what he has to say. And we say, yeah, we need to be kind to everybody, we need to be patient with everybody, but we know what happens when our patience is tested. Easier said than done. Solomon says, better a patient man than a warrior. Why? Why is patience better? So this morning I'm going to give you 3 reasons why patience is better. And again, I'm preaching to myself as much as I am to you, because I need to hear these words, all right? I hope these 3 things, these 3 reasons why we should be patient with everybody, helps us all become a little bit more patient with everybody. So here we go. First of all, a patient person can help heal a broken relationship. A patient person can help heal a broken relationship. And we've all been there. You know, we've had relationships that have gone wrong. We've got arguments with our friends, with our family, and you know, just things are really bad. We lose our patience with people. We start to wonder, you know, why won't she do the right thing? Why won't he apologize for what he did? You know, we start to wonder, why doesn't my boss recognize my talent? I've got so much more to offer this company. Why won't he recognize my talent? I'm getting fed up. Why do I put up with this? And we ask ourselves this question, and pretty soon we resent these people that try our patience. And our relationships start to become broken. They start to feel kind of strange. Every time we come around these people that have tried our patience, it feels kind of weird. You're like, I don't really want to talk to this person, and you know, I'd just rather stay away. And so your relationship with these people become broken. Solomon said that better a patient man than a warrior. But then he says over Proverbs 15:18, a hot-tempered man stirs up dissension. Get the image there. Okay, a hot-tempered man. You've been there, you've lost your temper. What do? You start going around and getting people on your side, right? Oh man, I'm so fed up with such and such or so-and-so. I'm going to tell everybody about this, and we're going to get our band of army together. We're going to be warriors. And we're going to go, and we're going to tear this person down. We're going to conquer this city. And that's what happens. Pretty soon, all your people, all your friends are with you against this person, and your relationship with that person is broken, and pretty soon everybody's like, yeah, man, let's get him. So, but Solomon goes on, a hot-tempered man stirs up dissension, that's what happens, but a patient man calms a quarrel. A patient man says, whoa, let me sit back and think about this. He's not going out and getting this band of brothers together to go and conquer this man. man because he's tried his patience. He sits back and he thinks about it, and he calms what's going on. He heals that broken relationship. Joseph. How many of you remember the story of Joseph and his brothers? Joseph and coat of many colors and all that good stuff. And you remember Joseph, when he was young, got his coat of many colors, and then later on, he has a couple of dreams. One night he has a dream that he and his brother are out binding sheaves. His sheaf rises up, right? And then his brother's sheaves all rise up, and then they fall down and bow down to worship Joseph's sheaf. Okay, that was one dream. Yeah. Then another night, Joseph has another dream. And he dreams that the sun and the moon and 11 stars bow down to him. And so Joseph tells his brothers these dreams, and they're like, I ain't bowing down to you. You know, they know immediately what these dreams mean, and they're like, there is no way. So they come up with a plan, right? They come up with a plan to get rid of Joseph, because they're not having this. There's no way they're going to bow down to their little brother. Not going to happen. So what do? They go out, they're in the middle of this, field somewhere, and they throw him into the cistern. Well, pretty soon, Reuben comes up with a plan. Hey, let's not just leave him here. Let's sell him to the Ishmaelites. Here they come, you know. Well, the Ishmaelites buy Joseph, and Joseph's gone, and they make up the story. Basically, their plan goes awry. And Joseph ends up in Egypt, working for a man named Potiphar. It's kind of like a slave. And Joseph, if I was Joseph, I'd be pretty furious with my 11 brothers. This isn't right, man. And so Joseph ends up in the lowest of lows. Potiphar's wife accuses him of coming on to her. Joseph ends up in jail. Joseph interprets some dreams for a chief cupbearer and baker. They forget about him when they come out of jail. So Joseph stays in jail, and it's like life just couldn't get any worse for Joseph. Well, finally, they remember Joseph, the chief cupbearer remembers Joseph, so Pharaoh calls him out of jail. He interprets a dream. Pharaoh installs Joseph as second in command over all of Egypt. And basically, Joseph gets Egypt ready for one of the worst famines that they ever see. And during this time, Joseph has lived all these years, from the time their brothers betrayed him up until now. Joseph has lived all these years, I think, in patience, waiting for something, for God to work through his life. And finally, during this really bad famine, Joseph's brothers come to him. They don't recognize him, but he recognizes them. And Joseph plays a little game with them. I think I do this with my brothers too. He'll be like, dude, you betrayed me, you sold me, here I am. I'm not even living in the country I grew up in. This is crazy. So Joseph plays a couple games on his brothers. He puts a silver cup into their stash. He gives their money back for the grain they bought. And they're all up in arms. What are we going to do? Oh, no. And they still don't know that this is Joseph, their brother. They come back, and Joseph finally reveals himself to his brothers. Think about this. Joseph could have taken revenge. Joseph could have had them killed. Joseph could have toyed around with them a little bit more than what he really did. But Joseph was patient with his brothers, and I love, his brothers are fearing for their lives. I'm thinking, Joseph's probably going to kill us, or he's going to get revenge on us for what we did to him. But in Genesis chapter 50, and verse 20, Joseph says this to his brothers. You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good, to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives. Joseph had a kingdom perspective. Joseph had in things the mind of God, and he was very patient with his brothers from the time they betrayed him until the time they come back to him. Joseph says, you know what? God had a bigger plan. And it was God's purpose for me to end up where I am to make things happen. And so Joseph heals what could have been a really broken relationship with his brothers. He heals that relationship by reaching out to them and helping them understand, hey, there's something better here. The things of God are more important than what I think or what you think. What you meant for evil, God used for good. Joseph forgave his brothers for what they had done, and their relationships were all restored. Why? Joseph remained patient through all those years. We sometimes don't understand how God may be using us, how God may be using other people in our lives. We may think they're trying our patience, but God may be using them in some way to get his will accomplished. So what do we need to do? We need to be patient. And we need to help and heal and restore broken relationships. Better a patient man than a warrior. Why is patience better? Number 2, a patient person gives God time to work. A patient person gives God time to work. Love Psalm chapter 27, verse 14. Wait for the Lord. Be strong and take heart and wait for the Lord. I think that's kind of cool. Wait for him. And this is the hardest thing. When it comes to patience, waiting around. I don't like to wait. I don't know anybody that likes to wait. Waiting's no fun. You sit there and you're, okay, when's this going to happen, right? We've said our prayers. We've asked God to work things out for us. We've done all we can to set things in motion. And now we have to wait for God to work. That's no fun. And when we get to this point, though, we need to remember that Jesus didn't give up on me. He didn't give up on me. Jesus didn't write off the woman at the well because of her immorality. Jesus didn't blackball the tax collector Zacchaeus for his sins. Jesus didn't ban Peter for his denial. Think about it. Jesus loved, Jesus forgave, Jesus waited on God to work in these people's lives so that they can be forgiven, so that they can be restored, so that they can carry out the will of God. Over time, God changed all these lives and more. And Jesus is not going to give up on you either. Some of you know what it's like to pray for somebody that you love dearly, to come to know Christ. You know what it's like to sit and wait for God to move in their lives. God, send the right person. Please let them hear the right thing so that they come to know you. And you pray and pray, and you get other people to pray with you. Pray for my husband, pray for my wife, pray for my son, pray for so-and-so, that they come to know Christ. And we wait and we wait and wait, and finally, your loved one comes to know Christ. And that's really cool. We wait for other things in our lives. We wait for God to move in our lives. Dawn and I have been praying, along with a lot of you, that we would sell our house, and that we find a house here in Barberton to buy and live in. Now, it seems like it's taking God forever to work in this, all right? I mean, I'm like, God, I just want to move here. I want to feel more organized. I want to launch into what you have in store for Barberton Church of Christ. This is going to be so fun. And so we're waiting, we're praying, and a lot of you are praying with us that we can just make these things happen. Well, I got some good news, okay? We're closing our house here in a couple of weeks. We sold it. Woo-hoo. We're excited about that, okay? Thank you for your prayers. The second thing is we found a house in Barberton that we like. We put an offer last week, and it was accepted. So, God is moving, right? This is cool stuff. And you've seen it. You guys are praying. Prayers are being answered. This is really cool. But we've waited patiently for God to work and move and make these things happen. I still can't believe I'm becoming a Barberton Magic. What is God doing to me? I don't understand. This is crazy. So, we're excited about what God has in store. Patience gives God time to work. If we just wait for the Lord, then he's going to make it happen. Paul wrote in Romans chapter 8, verse 25, but if we hope for what we do not yet have, what do? We wait patiently. We're looking forward to something in the future. We don't have it yet. We're hoping it's going to happen, or we're hoping it's going to come, and we're hoping that we're going to get it, but there's no way that we can get it. We don't have it yet, so we wait for it patiently. We wait for it patiently. Maybe you're hoping for God to heal you or to heal someone in your life. Maybe you're hoping that your loved one would come to know Jesus. Maybe you're hoping God would give you some direction in your life. I don't know what you're hoping for, but whatever you're hoping for, you don't have yet. So I encourage you, wait patiently for it. God's got a plan, and that's what's really cool about that. So better a patient man than a warrior. Why? A patient person can help heal a broken relationship. A patient person gives God time to work. And third, why is a patient man better than a warrior? Because God, and this is important, God is patient with you. God is patient with you. I love this part. Peter says in 2 Peter chapter 3, verses 8 and 9, don't forget this one thing, dear friends. With the Lord, a day is like 1,000 years, and 1,000 years are like a day. That's not encouraging to me. You know, it's the year 2013, and we've, since the year 0, we've lived, 2 days in the eyes of Christ, or in the eyes and the mind of God? How crazy is that? I want things now. Verse 9, the Lord, He's not slow in keeping His promise, as some understand slowness. What's that say? Say it out loud. He is patient with you. He's patient with you. How cool is that? He's waiting on you. He's waiting on you. Then Peter says, not wanting anyone to perish, but for everyone to come to repentance. Why does it seem like God is so slow in answering our prayers, yet when He answers our prayers, He's right on time? Because God's timing is always right. As much as I hate to admit that, because I want things to happen right now, and I get impatient, I want it to happen right now, God's timing is always right. It's perfect. No matter how quickly I want something to happen in my life, God knows just the right moment to make it happen. And in this passage in 2 Peter, Peter's talking about Jesus' return, right? I don't know about you. I can't wait for Jesus' return. I can't wait to get to heaven. I mean, I'm excited about it. I'm so excited that I'm like, dude, just come right now. I'm ready, you know? Get me off of this planet. Get me out of here. I want to be in heaven. I want to be gathered to my real home. And then I read this passage and I go, man, I need to have in mind the things of God. I realize God is patient. He doesn't want anybody to die. He doesn't want anybody to go to hell. So He's patient with us. He's given us time to grow in a relationship with Him, and for other people to come into a relationship with Him. And so I need to be more patient with God. Okay, God, I get it. You're taking your time because the longer you wait, the more people get to enter into your kingdom. Okay, so I'll wait. How much does God put up with between you and me? Think about that. God is pretty patient with us, right? You know, He loved us so much that He sent His Son to die on the cross for our sins. And He's patient with us on that. I mean, we mess up, we do bad things, and He says, it's okay, I forgive you. And in spite of this knowledge that He died for us, we still go out and we do our own thing. We're still selfish. We still carry out our own desires and our own motives, not thinking about the things of God. And yet God is still patient with us. I forgive you. How much more should we be patient with the people that are in our lives who are trying our patience? Why is patience better? Well, a patient person can help heal a broken relationship. A patient person gives time for God to work. Why is patience better? Because God is patient with you. God is patient with you. Better a patient man than a warrior. A man who controls his